and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Chair of the 4th ICOMSI 2025, Mrs. Haryani Saptaning Tias, PhD, to deliver the welcome address. Hello and good morning, Mrs. Haryani, PhD.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, yes, this section is yours, Mrs. Haryani.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Our Honorable Rector and Vice Rector of the 11 Maret University, our Honorable Dean and Vice Dean of the Postgraduate School ONS, our Honorable Keynote Speaker of the ICOMSI 4 2025, esteemed colleagues, participant, presenter of the ICOMSI 4. On behalf of the organizing committee of the 4th International Conference of the Multidisciplinary Studies 2025, Postgraduate School of 11 Maret University, I would like to express my sincerely appreciation to all of you for your cooperation and collaboration in making this annual scientific conference possible. It is my pleasure to meet you all and facilitate the exchange of ideas for the development of the intersection between environmental crisis, human health, and community empowerment. I firmly believe that this conference not only provides the pathway of the academic achievement and motivation. On top of that, this conference is calling out our faith to listen the cry of the earth and calling of us to take action. There is a greater consciousness today of the links and the interdependency of the two topics. Scientific research, which leads to the better understanding and knowledge of environmental issue, which is vital if we are not protecting our fragile environments, but also to ensure it is safe and healthy for present and future generations. Therefore, today's conference with the theme is Human Security, Empowerment, and Planetary Health, Forging a Resilient Global Future, taken as our esteemed presenter and participant of the conference. This year, I have been supported by our beloved brothers, Dr. Iyad Abu Mogil, from UN Environmental Programs, UNEP, through formal and informal discussion on the importance of the ethical consideration in our life in relation to the nature. Each of us, as humans beings, has a responsibility to protect the earth under the specific movement, namely Faith for the Earth. He said, today, this time is to take action. Indeed, I hope through this conference, it will have a positive impact on the chemistry community, not only regional, but also globally, through the scientific ideas and common practices of empowering communities. Personally, I also thank with all the support we receive in making this conference happen, particularly for the organizing committee. Turning from impossibility to be possibility within the chaotic processes of developing accreditation programs and budget efficiency. We prepare this conference in the limited times and the format's conference itself turning to be online platform. This year, we received around 50 papers from around Indonesians and abroad. Therefore, we see that the interest of the international scientific community is clear. This fact motivates us for keeping the spirit alive for the next chapter of ICOMSI. Ladies and gentlemen, the event of ICOMSI 4 2025 comprised two following activities: plenary session, parallel symposia, panel discussion, and publication. Finally, congratulations to all of us. The only hope of this conference are our collaboration will continue and intensify through joint research and develop common action for the protection of our planet where we are living now. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mrs. Haryani, PSD, for the insightful opening. Okay, very nice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next we proceed to the official opening of the conference with great honor, Professor Dr. Fitria Rahmawati, Magister Science, Vice Rector for Academic and Research Affairs of Universitas 11 Maret, to officially open the fourth ICOMSI 2025. Hello and good morning, Professor Fitria.
Halo, morning. Assalamualaikum.
Yes, Waalaikumsalam. Okay, Professor Fitria, this section is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good
Waalaikumsalam.
morning everyone.
Good morning
And
too.
salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. The Honorable Dean and Vice Deans of the Graduate School, Universitas 11 Maret, Head of Study Programs, the keynote speakers, organizing committee, distinguished delegates, and all attendants. On behalf of Universitas 11 Maret, I welcome you to the 4th International Conference on Multidisciplinary Studies, ICOMSI 2025, under the topic of human security, empowerment, and planetary health, forging a resilient global future. I want to express my gratitude to the distinguished keynote speakers, who are Dr. Iyad Abu Mughli from United Nations for Environmental Program, who will deliver a speech on human security and shifting the needle of environmental action. And also to my colleague, Professor Tonang Dwi Ardianto from Universitas 11 Maret, who will deliver a speech in the future of planetary health in practice, and Professor Okamoto from Kyoto University, who will deliver a speech about human security and plastic waste issues. I also thanks to organizing committee, the distinguished college and staff from the Graduate School of Universitas 11 Maret, who has made this conference possible, even though under budget limitation and under a tight schedule. This conference was designed to be a space for sharing, for open collaboration, and discussing our concern as part of our society regarding the natural crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, in a rapidly changing world, humanity faces unprecedented challenges impacting human security, environmental integrity, and community resilience. We need to take action soon, since we all agree that the Earth is our only home. In the face of natural crises such as pollution and rising sea level due to climate change, people must develop specific strategies to survive. So it is also our responsibility to conserve nature, as it aligned with our personal commitment to keep the earth in a good condition for future generation. This become one of the essential point of this conference. Recognizing the interconnectedness of human security, empowerment, and planetary health, the 4th International Conference on Multidisciplinary Studies aims to bring together researchers, academics, professionals, and policymakers for a robust exchange of knowledge and innovative solutions. I believe that this conference is a platform to address humanity and environmental security while promoting multidisciplinary strategies for a resilient future. That's why this conference, in this conference, all of you will discuss various issues starting from planetary health and health promotion until environmental ethics, human resource management, also agriculture and development extension. I'm sure that the selected topic will provide you with some recent information and open opportunities for discussion on how to save our planet for the future generation. By reciting Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I formally open the 4th International Conference on Multidisciplinary Studies, ICOMSI 2025. I wish you a delightful and productive discussion, and furthermore, initiate some collaborative works each other. All the best. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you, Professor Fitria, for officially opening today's event. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we move to next agenda, we kindly invite all of you stay with us for our group documentation. Excuse me, Prof. Fitria, can we take a picture together, please? Okay, yes. Okay, I will count each slide. There are 4 slides and link Zoom. Okay, slide 1. Okay, slide 1. I will take. Yes. Okay, slide 2. Okay, slide 3. Okay, slide 4. Okay, yes, thank you very much. Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we know
Bapak Ibu,
transmission.
excuse me, Bapak Ibu,
Yes,
because I
yes.
have another agenda, another Zoom, then I have to
Okay.
leave this Zoom soon.
Yes. Thank you very much,
For you all.
Mas
Yeah.
Fitria.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank you
Prof.
very much.
Very much, Prof.
Fitria.
Okay. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we now transition into our plenary session. Allow me to introduce our speaker for this session. Our first speaker is Mr. Dr. Iyad Abu Mohli, founder and director of the Fight for Earth Coalition of UNEP. And our second speaker is Professor Masaki Okamoto, Political Economic Coexistence, Kyoto University, Japan. And our third speaker is Professor Tonang Dwi Adianto. And to moderate this session, please allow me to present the short curriculum vitae of our moderator, Dr. Akbaruddin Arif. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Akbaruddin Arif is a lecturer at the Graduate School of Universitas 11 Maret. He earned his master degree in development studies, focusing on participant, power, and social change from the Institute of Development Studies in the United Kingdom. He also completed a short course of the State of Local Democracy and the University of Oslo. Dr. Arif obtained his doctoral degree in political science from Gajah Mada University. In his research center on the political dimension of development and environmental sustainability. In addition to his research, he actively teaches and mentors graduate students in the Development Extension Program at UNS. Dr. Akbaruddin has contributed to numerous scholarly publication and participates in research group dedicated to community empowerment. His work effectively bridges NATO academy, theory, and practical development initiative, supporting UN's mission to foster sustainability and empowerment communities through education and research. All right. And now let's formally welcome Mr. Akbar. Hello and good morning, Mr. Akbar. Hello and good morning, Mr. Akbar.
Good morning, Bu Gaya.
Yes, yeah.
Good morning,
Okay,
Ms. Gaya. Thank you.
Mr. Akbar, this section is yours.
Thanks again, Ms. Yaya. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I see a very bright faces there, everybody. My name is Akbar. My complete name is Akbaruddin Arif. I am in charge of moderator for this ICOMSI 4 2025. I am very pleased to welcome all of you today. But first of all, I would like to again repeat our deepest, highest gratitude to Rector 11 Maret University, Dean of Graduate School 11 Maret University. Because of their gratitude, we can continue to take place this ICOMSI 2025. We indeed expect continued support for the future ICOMSI. ICOMSI to me is like a yearly transect walk. If you know this transect walk, it is just like walking around in our neighborhood. And through ICOMSI, we walk around the corner of the globe to see if there are problems there. There are harms in there. There are dangers in there. There are threats to our planet. Through ICOMSI, we are observing around through intellectual lens and find out whether we need to mitigate any that will happen, and we need to mitigate if there is harmful situation that need to be cured. ICOMSI 2025, we have theme human security, empowerment, and planetary health, forging a resilient global future and against environmental crisis. So this is a very huge theme, and we are expecting that we can overlook one by one with a smaller theme. We have three distinct speakers today. I would like to introduce the first theme. We have human security and shifting the needle of environmental action will be presented by Dr. Iyad Abu Mokli. Today, he is not able to attend in person, but we are lucky to have a very important, meaningful, and I believe impactful speech later he will present. And then the second theme, we will have tackling plastic waste for better Asia. We will invite later Professor Masaaki Okamoto from Tokyo University. And the third, we are proud to have Prof. Tonang Dwi-Ardianto from 11 Maret University. He will present planetary health in healthcare practice Indonesian perspective. Allow me to read a little bit fast the three short view. Dr. Iyad Abu Mokli is a distinguished environmental leader, engineer, and diplomat with over 40 years of experience in sustainability and ethical development. Founder of the Faith for Earth Coalition, he mobilizes diverse leaders to address planetary crisis. Inspired by vulnerable communities, he champions environmental governance, climate resilience, and sustainable development. He was former director of UNEP. UNEP organizes around 140 countries in responding global environmental crisis. Professor Okamoto Masaaki is Vice Director and Professor of the Center for Southeast Asian Studies, Kyoto University, Japan. His research focus has been on the politics in Indonesia and other Southeast Asian countries. Okay. His research topic is widespread from the local politics and violence, bureaucratic politics, environmental politics, the digitalization politics in Indonesia and beyond. These publications mostly are published in books and various academic journals from Kyoto University, Cornell University, Yusuf Eska Institute, ICIS, Springer, and also Routledge. The most recent research is the TikTok politics in Southeast Asia by collaborating with the data scientists. And we have also Professor Tonang Dwi Ardianto. Professor Tonang Dwi Ardianto is a clinical immunology professor at University 11 Maret. He earned his medical degree at UNS and advanced degree in molecular immunology from Tottori University, Japan. It looks we have Japanese Brotherhood today, with specialist training in clinical pathology and immunology. He contributed significantly to immunology research and clinical practices, notably during the COVID-19 pandemic. He was former Vice Director of Rumah Sakit UNS Hospital, UNS Hospital. He also consulted for Rodia Widya Usada, and he holds international professional membership. Hopefully the three short video give a description on how interesting our discussion will be. So ladies and gentlemen, are you all ready with the journey of learning today? Let's go. We will have the first presentation by Dr. Iyad Abu Mokli. Dear Kamati, please proceed with the video by Dr. Iyad.
Distinguished colleagues, esteemed scientists, honored faith leaders, respected policymakers, and devoted change makers. We stand today at a point in history where our shared fate is more intertwined than ever before. Around us, environmental degradation, climate instability, and biodiversity loss are converging into a threat that endangers human security, from livelihoods and health to peace and dignity. Shifting the needle isn't about small steps or symbolic gestures. It's about transformational action, bold, sustained, guided by evidence, inspired by ethics, and sustained by the conviction that human security cannot be achieved without planetary security. In this address, I will weave together 6 vital threads. First, essential role of multilateralism. Second, complementarity, power of beyond formal law. Third, the influence of ethics, values, and behaviors in shaping sustainable governance. Fourth, the undeniable link human security depends on planetary security. Fifth, reimagined human-environment relationship informed by reconciliation, moral renewal, spiritual insight, and humility. And sixth, the transformation and the potential of the science policy spirituality nexus, where empirical truth, policy logic, and moral vision converge. So let's consider a journey, one that holds not just intellectual urgency, but the moral weight of generational stewardship. First, human security rests on planetary security. Human security, once centered on armed conflict, now depends and demands urgent recognition of environmental determinants like food, water, health, and shelter. Our foundations rest on fragile ecosystems, and when they flatter, human lives unravel. The numbers are stark. The United Nations Secretary General warns that ecosystem collapse could cost the world about $3 trillion annually by 2030, gravely impacting the poorest nations. The World Bank estimates that losing essential ecosystem services such as pollination and fisheries could slash 2.7 trillion per year from global GDP. The Global Assessment Report of 2025 shows that while direct disaster losses average 202 billion annually, cascading impacts and ecosystem degradation push the real toll to over 2.3 trillion each year. These are not abstract figures. They represent lives lost, opportunities have forgone, and dignity eroded. Falling agricultural yields drive hunger. Polluted water fuels disease. Floods, storms, and droughts cause poverty, displacement, and social breakdown. The human cost is visible now, but at the end of 2023, 75.9 million people were internally displaced, a 51% increase just in 5 years. 7.7 million due to disasters alone. In 2024, that number reached a record 83.4 million, with families uprooted by both conflict and climate shocks. Baby Begum's story in Bangladesh, forced from her home by unprecedented floods, raising displaced children in an overcrowded slum, reminds us that environmental collapse is not just a policy issue. It is a profound erosion of the human spirit. In 2022 alone, disasters triggered 32.6 million internal displacements, nearly 60% of all such movements that year. Climate migration is no longer a projection. It is a defining reality of our time. We can shift this trajectory. Protecting and restoring ecosystems is not merely environmental policy. It is a human security policy. This means scaling up climate adaptation funding to meet the 300 billion annual need projected by UNEP by 2030, integrating nature-based solutions into national security and development plans, embedding climate resilience into infrastructure, agriculture, and water systems, and ensuring that the most vulnerable communities, especially women, youth, and the indigenous peoples, are partners in decision-making. The choice before us is clear. Secure the planet, and we secure human hope, safety, and dignity. Fail, and we invite instability, loss, and despair on an unprecedented scale. The essential role of multilateralism. In a world of shared biospheres and shared risks, multilateralism is not a diplomatic convenience. It is a lifeline. From the Brundtland Report to the Paris Agreement, multilateral agreements have framed our common pursuit of sustainability. The Paris Accord galvanized nation states around a shared climate goal, while COP15's global biodiversity framework aims to protect 30% of land and water by 2030. But good frameworks demand delivery. Many nations remain behind in both mitigation and adaptation. The UN reminds us that ecosystem collapse already costs us trillions. Inaction amplifies these losses. Resilience investments pay off. The Global Assessment Report 2025 argues that investing in early warning systems and infrastructure could curb the ever-escalating costs of disasters. To shift the needle, multilateralism must become more inclusive. Cities, businesses, youth, indigenous peoples, and faith communities must all be stakeholders, not spectators. Faith leaders in particular hold moral influence across billions, translating policy into purpose. We need to forge multilateralism that is not only coordinated, but catalytic, uniting policy, ethics, and collective will. Now, formal law establishes private corners of behavior, but deeper change is rooted in conscience. Beyond formal law lies the wisdom of traditions, indigenous, cultural, and faith-based, that governs what cannot be legislated. Long before governments tracked protected areas, ancestral taboos preserved forests. Long before emissions targets, scriptures taught moderation and stewardship. The IPBES report warns that over 1 million species are threatened, with extinction rates tens to hundreds of times higher than the average of the past 10 million years. Laws alone cannot turn this around. Cultures can. Similarly, behavior-led shifts anchored in religious ethics can transform consumption patterns. Moral pressure can shape everything from individual consumer choices to corporate commitments and government norms. We need institutions and individuals to ask not just can we do it, but should we do it? By embedding values into our policies, guiding behavior with conscience, and mobilizing communities around shared responsibility, we can take decisive action to shift the needle. The patterns of environmental decline directly undermine human security. Disasters, migration, hunger, disease, inequality, conflict, all these are not hypothetical. Tomorrow risks, but they are today's reality. Urban areas compound this risk. Urban stretch, with buildings responsible for up to 40% of global emissions, is becoming increasingly unlivable as temperatures climb. By 2040, over 2 billion urban residents will experience more intense heat, and green spaces, once averaging 19.5% of urban land in 1990, have fallen to 13.9% by 2020. The economic cost of natural disasters in cities is projected to increase and exceed 1 trillion annually by mid-century. Adaptation costs are mounting. Councils estimate that investments must reach between 140 to 300 billion per year by 2030, rising to more than 280 to 500 billion by 2050. Yet the gap remains wide. These numbers are not abstractions. They challenge us to act decisively. By redesigning urban planning, prioritizing green infrastructure, and investing in resilience communities, we can take strategic steps to shift the needle. We must reframe our relationship with the world, integrating reconciliation, moral purpose, spiritual roots, and humility. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warns that humanity is waging war on nature. The weapons are greed and apathy. Reconciliation isn't rejection of progress, but living in harmony with planetary boundaries. We require a new development paradigm that counts natural and social capital, not just GDP. Nature-based restoration could unlock 191 million jobs by 2030. Restoration of 2 billion hectares by 2030 is a core goal of the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. Faith communities must lead reconciliation, rebuilding trust, and reversing estrangement from nature. We need recognition of moral values in consumption and production. Sustainable consumption ensures efficiency, protects finite resources, and secures access for future generations. It must be shared as individual responsibility, corporate accountability, and government regulation. Institutions rooted in moral teachings, often those of faith, can guide this transformation with greater resonance than regulation ever could. We need rediscovering moral and spiritual roots of humanity and rights. Rights to a healthy environment are now recognized in international law, including the UN Human Rights Council's 2021 resolution. These rights echo the spiritual truths in religions and religious traditions that framed humans as stewards of creation. A shared universal doctrine built on diverse faith values could unite us. We need resetting from human superiority to human humility. The Anthropocene exposes our overreach, yet most religions teach humility. Many include sacred rests of land. These spiritual disciplines remind us that we are part of a larger community of life, not its masters. Humility doesn't diminish humanity, it dignifies it. What is our best last chance to shift the needle? We face a moment of destructive reconstruction, deconstructing harmful systems and rebuilding with ethics, inclusion, equality, and planetary care. A future where youth lead, gender equality is realized, and no one is marginalized. Multilateralism grounded in shared spiritual and ethical values. A socio-economic reboot with an environmental conscience. Religious institutions mobilizing billions through moral influence must become essential partners in achieving this vision. We need the science, policy, spirituality nexus. Science provides us with the facts, the evidence, and the predictions. From the IPCC 6th assessment report, we know that global surface temperature is likely to reach or exceed 1.5 of warming by 2040, even under moderated or moderate emissions scenarios. The World Meteorological Organization reports that the past decade was the warmest on record, with extreme weather events increasing in frequency and intensity by 30 to 40% compared to 1970s averages. Policy translates this knowledge into action. The Paris Agreement, the Global Biodiversity Framework, and the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration provide mechanisms for coordination and accountability. Yet, policy alone cannot reshape human behavior. Without ethical grounding and moral vision, rules can be circumvented. Compliance becomes mechanical and ambition flatters. This is where spirituality, ethics, and moral reflection become catalysts. Faith-based communities encompass over 80% of the world's population, wielding a unique capacity to inspire value-driven behavioral change. When scientific knowledge is paired with ethical reflection, asking not just what can we do, but what should we do, it triggers transformation at the individual, community, and institutional levels. Let's consider practical examples. Faith-inspired environmental stewardship programs in Africa and Southeast Asia have restored degraded lands, while educating communities about sustainable agriculture and conservation. Religious leaders advocating for climate resilience livelihoods have mobilized smallholder farmers to adopt sustainable water management, crop rotation, and biodiversity-friendly practices. In urban centers, interfaith networks championing green infrastructure, renewable energy adoption, and low-carbon transportation and are accelerating municipal climate plans. The nexus between science, policy, and spirituality is also crucial for ethical investments. Financial institutions increasingly recognize environmental, social, and governance, the ESG criteria. Yet the moral lens rooted in spirituality and ethical stewardship ensures these investments genuinely advance sustainable development and human dignity. The convergence of these forces is not theoretical. UNEP's Faith for Earth Coalition has demonstrated that collaborations between scientists, policymakers, and faith leaders amplify impact, translating technical solutions into culturally resonant, morally compelling actions that communities embrace. This integrated approach creates peer accountability, community pressure, and moral obligation, factors that laws and regulations alone often cannot generate. Ultimately, this nexus allows us to shift the needle by tackling complex interconnected challenges. Climate change, biodiversity loss, water insecurity, and public health are not isolated problems. They are systemic. Solutions require systemic thinking, empirical rigor, policy coherence, and moral commitment working together to shift societal norms. Only through this triad can we achieve sustained behavioral change, societal resilience, and a globally shared sense of responsibility. Friends, distinguished guests, fellow change makers, in conclusion, we need to make our shared responsibility dream possible. The journey we have is ambitious, even daunting, but the challenges before us demand nothing less. Human security and planetary security are inseparable. Without a thriving, resilient Earth, there can be no safety, no dignity or prosperity for humanity. Without moral reflection and behavioral change, science and policy alone cannot deliver sustainability. We must understand that humans are not conquerors, but participants in a living system. This entails acknowledging the warnings of science, respecting the limits of our ecosystems, and integrating moral and spiritual principles into the very fabric of our decision-making. We must recognize moral values in our consumption and production patterns. Reducing waste, improving efficiency, and consuming ethically are not merely acts of personal virtue. They are imperatives for global survival. Consumers, businesses, and governments must act together, guided not only by law, but by conscience. Religious institutions with their unique reach and moral authority can catalyze this transformation, ensuring that ethical considerations are embedded in choices at every level of society. We must rediscover the moral and spiritual roots of humanity and human rights. The right to a healthy environment enshrined in international relations echoes the ethical teachings of civilizations across centuries. We must reset our mindset from human superiority to human humility. The billions of other species that share this planet are not mere resources. They are co-inhabitants. Humility teaches us restraint, interconnectedness, and respect, guiding our policies, technologies, and social structures. We stand at a last chance moment, what I have called the destructive reconstruction. We must dismantle unsustainable systems, discard short-termism, and rebuild structures grounded in equity, justice, and sustainability. Young people must lead. Gender equality must be fully realized. No community should be marginalized. Nationalism must give way to multilateral cooperation, informed by shared ethical and spiritual values. Faith, ethics, science, and policy must converge in a science-policy-spirituality nexus. This is where knowledge meets conscience and where strategy meets purpose. When scientists, policymakers, and faith leaders work in concert, they create a force capable of shifting societal norms, mobilizing communities, and pressuring governments to act decisively. In shifting the needle, let us envision a future where children inherit clean rivers, fertile soils, and stable climates. Communities are resilient to disasters, and vulnerable populations are protected. Energy, transport, and agriculture systems operate sustainably, guided by ethics as well as efficiency. Governance structures integrate ecological, social, and spiritual wisdom, ensuring decisions respect both humanity and nature. This vision is not naive, it is necessary. History has tested our capacity for collaboration, compassion, respect, and reshape societies. We can shift the needle on environmental action, turning despair into hope, crisis into opportunity, and intention into impact. Friends, let us leave this conference with a renewed sense of purpose, grounded in science, guided by policy, and inspired by ethics and spirituality. Let us be the generation that recognizes that human security and planetary security are one and the same, and act accordingly. Let this be our shared legacy, a world where people and nature thrive together, where justice and humanity guide our actions, and where the moral, spiritual, and scientific foundations of society are fully aligned in pursuit of a sustainable, secure, unjust future. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Iyad. Thanks for moral and ethical houseland reminder. And also thanks for this energizing speech. How much, dear Adrian, you like the speech by Dr. Iyad? You are, of course, welcome and allowed to grace at any point that you like the most of his speech. But let me share a little bit what I have in mind lately after listening the speech by Dr. Iyad. Dr. Iyad start his super important speech by reminding us with record of youth loss caused by environmental issue ignorance. We are so ignorant to environmental issue, and Dr. Iyad shows numbers, huge amount of loss because of them. From there, he calls the necessity of adopting cultural morality awareness in guiding planetary security. It is beyond of legislation that we usually refer to. He recalls a deeper foundation that we refer to. And I like the most also how he concludes with axiom. We cannot expect human security to be achieved without planetary security. Thank you again, Dr. Iyad, for your super important reminder. Now we are going to the second presenters. Good morning, Prof. Okamoto. How are you there?
Oh, yeah, fine. Thank you very much.
How long have
Can you
we
hear
been
me?
to meet after last time we met? 3 months, 4 months?
Wow.
It's a bit long.
Yeah, maybe just after the Peru Press, or maybe.
Okay. Good to see you again, Pa. When you are ready, you can proceed with your presentation. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll use my PowerPoint. Can you hear my presentation, watch my presentation? Can you watch? Can you see my PowerPoint? Arif-san. Hello.
Yes, very clearly, Pa. Thank you.
Okay. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this quite important conference, namely the 4th International Conference on Multidisciplinary Studies 2024, organized by UNS in Solo. And especially, I really say thank you to Arif because he introduced me to join this important conference. And today, my specialty is on political science, and I conducted a research on the Pew Press and the impact of TikTok, and I was quite a lot helped by Arif. That's why if he asked me or ordered me to give a talk, I have no choice but to accept it. So that's why I'll give a talk today. And my talk today is not about Pew Press, of course, because this is related to environmental issues. So my talk today is about the plastic waste issues. It's really a serious issue now. And as Iyad mentioned earlier, the environmental issues are seriously also in human security issues too. And this plastic waste issue is also not only the environmental issue, but also the human security issue too. And how can I move it? One of the shocking video was this one in 2015. Maybe some of you already watched this one. So plastic straw was inside the turtle's nose. So that clearly shows.
Bless you. Have you ever heard about turtles? I have.
And this was really shocking. And after that, more and more people are realizing how contaminated the ocean is by the plastic waste. So, for example, small seas entangled with the ghost net from the fishing sector, and also when the well was on the beach and checked the inside, they found out 100 kilograms of plastic in the stomach just from one well. So these kind of things are causing the alarm to the humanities about ocean degradation by the plastic waste, but actually not limited to the waste in the ocean, but actually this plastic waste is everywhere now, including the microplastic. So that's why Japan Foundation organized a ASEAN Japan Youth Forum, and the theme is the plastic waste. So we invited 25 students, undergraduate students from ASEAN countries, and 5 or 6 students from Japan to think about this plastic issue, how to solve this problem. And we conducted a field work in the Philippines, and also we're conducting a field work in Japan in December. So, and in next year, we are going to have a different theme, but we're going to have this forum. So if undergraduate students are interested in, please apply for this. And we are moving to Asia. Actually, Asia is a hotspot of plastic product production. That's why hotspot of plastic waste in the world. Let's see. Actually, everybody knows, I think, most dynamic area in the world is Asia now. And what causes this dynamism? There are 3 factors or 3 reasons. One is the rise of Asia economically as a global epicenter, and digitalization and urbanization. Let's see, all these have the impact or the increase of the plastic waste in Asia. First, this is the data of the share of the global GDP based on PPP over 2,000 years from century 1 to 2022. And led part is the share of Asia. So until 1820, actually the economic center of the world was Asia. And then decreased, right, because of the Industrial Revolution in the Western Europe and the United States. And then after the World War II, the share of global GDP of Asia has increased again and keeps increasing. So now almost 50% of global share of the world is Asia. So now we can say that it's now a kind of the return of the era of Asia. So Asia is now becoming the world epicenter, economically speaking. Yeah, actually it's a good thing. So in 2030, it is projected that 50% of the total share of the world economy of the world will be Asia. It will keep increasing. So if you're an undergraduate student in your life for another 20 years, Asia will keep growing. And that is why the poverty ratio has decreased quite rapidly. This is the data on the several regions in the world. East Asia Pacific is the red one, this one. So the number of the poor people has decreased dramatically, far quicker than anywhere in the world. That is good too. And that is why we have a lot of the increase in number of the middle class in Asia. So I think around 65% of the middle class in the world are from Asia. So because of the rise of the economy in Asia is causing the rise of the middle class in Asia too. And this is the projected growth of the middle class in Southeast Asia. Even though now the Indonesian economy is shrinking, actually it's a very bad situation, but in a long term, I hope Indonesian economy is recovering and the middle class will keep increasing. This is a projection based on the positive view on the future of Indonesian economy. But not only Indonesia, but also other Southeast Asian countries are also seeing the rise of the middle class. This is one positive impact from Asia. Another one is digitalization. Of course, everyone is now using a smartphone, and if you look at the time, how long you watch the internet. This is the data of the world, and the Southeast Asian people really love to watch the internet. Philippine people, almost 9 hours. Indonesian people, in average, more than 7 hours every day, you know. So many Southeast Asian people watch the internet compared to East Asian countries, except Taiwan. If you look at Japan, I cannot imagine why this is so short, but Japanese people just watch the internet just 4 hours every day. So it's quite different from the other Southeast Asian countries. So this is the digitalization. And the third factor is urbanization. Actually, more and more people are living in urban area. In China, already more than 70%, and in Indonesia, already more than 60% are living in urban areas. So the urbanization will also keep going. And the most important point is the urbanization is taking place not just in the major cities or mega cities such as Jakarta, Manila, Bangkok, or Kuala Lumpur, but the urbanization is quickly taking place in the large middleweight cities and small middleweights with a population of 500,000 to 5 million people. These middle-level cities are developing rapidly. So if you look at the situation in Indonesia, I mean, not only Jakarta anymore, but Surabaya, Bandung, Semarang, but also Palembang, Medan. So these kind of cities are growing more rapidly than Jakarta. So these are data on the GDP per capita of the cities in Java. So if you look at this one, GDP per capita in 2018, Kurilu City, for example, GDP per capita of Kurilu City is already beyond GDP per capita of the Osaka city, second largest city in Japan. And in the near future, I think if you look at this one, GDP per capita in 2030 of the major cities in Java, many cities are becoming like the cities in Japan. So this is just the case of Java. But if we think about other islands in Indonesia, but also other parts of Southeast Asia, so more and more cities are emerging. That is also quite interesting phenomena. But how do we think about this fundamental transformation which is now taking place in Asia, including Indonesia? What does it mean for plastic issues? It's also a serious issue. Rise of global Asia is good, very good, but it is of course causing a rapid rise of plastic waste. Digitalization is good, but because of that, consumption pattern is changing toward more packaging and short-lived products because we are ordering the products by online, right? Amazon or what else. And then packages are shipped using bubble wrap or air pillow, plastic mailers. So more and more consumption products are packed with plastic. And urbanization is good, but if the urbanization taking place, usually more single-use plastic products are used. Plastic sekali pakai ya kalau bahasa Indonesia kalau nggak salah. So now actually plastic is everywhere. Kalau ke warung-warung di Indonesia, luar biasa, hampir semuanya plastic. It's almost all the products are covered with the plastic, especially sachet one. So last time I tried to find a washable, not used washable that is not from the plastic, but it's almost impossible to find that type of plastic anymore. And it's also true if you go to the drugstore in Japan, where so many products are using plastic. So the question is why it's so popular? Plastic is so popular because it's quite cheap and highly versatile and lightweight and durable, and plastic products is quite fitted with modern convenience culture. And also the design is quite flexible. It's easy to print and it's easy to mold. That's why plastic products are more and more used in the world, especially in Asia. So when did this plastic boom take place? Actually started in 1950s in the US. So let's look at the plastic arts in the 1950s in the US. For example, this one. We are all living with plastics today. In national acceptance in the art sets, plastic as American as apple pie. So sepertinya plastik seperti jadi apple pie bagi orang Amerika, seperti itu. And then another one, especially remarkable. The serviceable colorful plastic, which is so much a part of modern living. So plastic was associated with the modernity or modern living in the 1950s in the US. And after that, plastic has been used exponentially. So this is data from 1950 to 2030 of the plastic production in the world. And actually, more than half of all the plastic ever produced have been made since 2000. And since 2000, the Asian economy has been growing. That's why actually it is almost the same era with the era of Asia. So more and more Asian countries are producing plastic exponentially. And plastic consumption has been rising, especially since 1980 because of economic development in Asian countries. China plastic production is increasing, Indonesia is also increasing, and this will not stop. Actually, 1/3 of the global plastic use are now from Asia. And if you look at annual growth rate of the plastic consumption, it is also quite rapid. Example, Indonesia, annual growth rate of plastic consumption is 7.1%, higher than the economic growth rate. Or other Southeast Asian country, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, 8.7% growth rate. It's really rapid. So that means more and more people are using the plastic. And how are they using the plastic? Just look at this one. This is the structure of the share of plastic based on weight by application in ASEAN, Japan, China, Korea, or major Asian countries. Actually, if you look at this one, 54% of the plastic are for short-lived application, such as packaging. It just lasts 0.5 years, just 6 months in average. Or plastic is used for consumer products, or it is used for textiles. And actually, if you look at the clothes material, current clothes, 60% of the clothes material are from chemical fibers. So 60% of our clothes is from the plastic in one sense. So we are using a lot of plastic every day. And that is why plastic waste is also rapidly increasing ASEAN countries and East Asian countries. In 1999, just 10 million tons, but in 2022, it has reached 130 million. And as I said before, around 30% of global plastic waste is from ASEAN countries, Japan, China, and Korea. It's amazing. And most of the waste are from packaging, textile, and consumer product, 2/3. And the question is how these plastic waste are managed. And there's a severe difference between ASEAN countries and East Asian countries such as Japan, Korea, China. Look at this one. Example, mismanaged, recycled, incinerated, dibakar, and landfilled. And if you look at the case of Indonesia, most of them are mismanaged. So the plastic waste were not managed well. And if you look at the East Asian country, please look at Japan, almost no waste mismanagement. All are managed well, but how? The question is how? Just 10% or 12% waste management is recycling. But most of the waste management is by the incineration. So these plastic wastes are sent to the PLT SR, Pumbaki District Nagasampa, or what we call waste to energy site, and they are used for the energy. So they are burned, incinerated. The question is whether the incineration is good or not, because if we know all the plastic waste are managed well and incinerated, the plastic production itself will not decrease at all. That is maybe a problem. Oh, I lost. So the challenges for waste management in ASEAN country is high mismanagement. This is data from the World Bank in 2021. How was the plastic waste collection in Indonesia? If you look at the rural area, most of the plastic waste are uncontrolled. So just buang ke sungai atau ke tanah-tanah kosong begitu aja. Even in urban areas, around 30 to 40% are uncontrolled. So this is a serious problem in Indonesia. On the other hand, if you look at the case of Japan, recycling rate is still quite low and quite high incineration. So sampah plastik digunakan untuk pembangkit listrik. Whether it is good or not, this is still a question mark. But European countries say that thermal recycling is not actually recycle, they said. But according to the Japanese standard, it is said as a recycling. And if the waste is not managed well, where are these plastic waste go? This is the data. Some are leaked as microplastic, and most of them are actually not accumulated in ocean. Yeah, ocean also accumulate the waste plastic, but also rivers and lakes accumulate the plastic waste, and it's bigger actually. So a lot of people are criticizing the plastic waste in the ocean, but maybe more serious issue could be the plastic waste in rivers and lakes. In the case of Asia, this is data from Asia. So even if one country is quite successful in the waste management, whether is it enough or not? Actually not. How do we think about the microplastic or nanoplastic? Plastic that are smaller than 5 millimeter in diameter, very small plastic. It's actually now everywhere. More and more research done on the microplastic issue. So if you look at the ocean, many microplastic. If you look at the river, many plastic. But if you look at the air, also a lot of plastic too. So that's why actually now microplastic and nanoplastics are everywhere. And if you look at the data, 1/3 of total microplastic leakage, it is approximately 3 million tons in 2019. 1/3 of the total microplastic leakage is from ASEAN, Japan, China, and South Korea. So more microplastic leakages are from Asia. this is also a serious issue. Of course, it's because if you look at the stomach of the fish, of the birds, you can easily find the microplastic. Now, even we are consuming a lot of microplastic every day. That's why it is not limited to the environmental issue, but also it is a kind of the human health issues. And yes, last August, I met a professor at Kyoto University. He's a specialist on plastic waste management. He warns me, if we don't tackle this microplastic issue, the humanity will disappear totally from this planet in 100 years. It's really sangat menakutkan. And tidak ada dasar yang kuat untuk membuktikan itu, tapi it's just perkiraan dia, it's just his estimation, but he senses in that way. So it means how serious microplastic issue is for the human being too. And this is the data on the daily microplastic intake, milligram per capita every day. And this is a recent research result in 2024. And if you look at this one, where is the red one? Asia, and especially Malaysia and Indonesia. According to this survey, Indonesian people are consuming 429 milligram per capita every day. It's a scary number, but this is a result, research result based on the simulation, I think. But so this is also a serious issue in the world. But if you look at this data, actually this issue is really serious for Southeast Asian countries, especially Indonesia. So the question is, any hope to address this issue? Maybe some of you will know there's a kind of trial to redress or reduce the plastic pollution or reduce the plastic production, plastic consumption, and plastic waste. And the United Nations is trying to create a treaty on plastic pollution. But there's a conference again and again, but the countries fail to reach a consensus to create a UN treaty on plastic pollution this year. So we don't know whether next year we can finally have a treaty on plastic pollution or not. So globally, more and more countries are recognizing the importance of plastic issue, but still there's no consensus. And if you look at the countries and the cities and the community, a lot of policy programs, initiatives to reduce, reuse, recycle plastic. It's done by international organizations, NGO, and local communities, etc. Maybe some of your students or some of the professors here also doing something for the plastic reduction. And for example, Boyan Slat, maybe you know this guy. He is realized how contaminated the ocean is when he was 18 years old. That's why after that he created a kind of NGO, and he tried to reduce the ocean plastic by using these technologies, using the curse and the net. And he tried to clean up 90% of floating ocean plastic pollution by 2040. It's a really ambitious challenge, but a lot of companies are supporting him. And also, of course, biodegradable plastic are now being used, but still we are not sure whether it's really biodegradable or not. But it's in the question, but still trial and error are doing. And if you look at the case of Indonesia, we know the campaign. Example, we know the documentary Pulau Plastik, Island Plastic, maybe in bahasa English. I watched it on the very scary, but it's a kind of serious campaign to reduce the use of plastic. And that's a good trial. It was broadcasted in 2021 in Netflix, but after that, any change of the plastic consumption, I think, no, it's still increasing in Indonesia. And as I mentioned earlier, in the case of Indonesia, there's a kind of a boom to utilize PLTSR, pembangkit listrik tenaga sampah, waste to energy plant. So when I met the Pak Gubernur Jakarta, Pram, he said Jakarta also like to introduce PLTSR, learning from Japan, etc. But the problem is even if PLTSR was created, it doesn't mean the plastic production will decrease. This is a problem. And also, as I showed you earlier, if you go to Indonesia, many warung-warungnya di mana-mana mereka pakai plastik sekali pakai luar biasa banyak. But bagus bagi orang miskin karena sekali pakai yang kecil-kecil, jadi itu bisa digunakan dengan uang kecil. Jadi bagi miskin itu sangat bagus. Tapi it's not good for the environment because so many plastic waste are produced because of this sachet economy. So how to think about this issue? So if we think about this plastic issue, it's really serious, but it's really challenging how to solve this because now, even now, the plastic production is increasing rapidly in Asia, and there's no way of stopping it at this moment, but we need to do something. As Pak Iyad in the earlier session mentioned, we need to do something to address this issue, and we need some collective ideas from all of you. Okay, that's all. Terima kasih banyak atas waktunya. Selesai.
Thank you very much, Bro Okamoto. Very, what's called, very attractive, very important issues, but also you are introducing scary prediction from one of your colleagues in Tokyo that if we fail to manage plastic, including micro and nanoplastic, there is a prediction that it can be human collapse from this planet by 100 years. We can continue later to have discussion on that also. I think there are so many spots that we can discuss, including how Indonesia most likely mismanaging, and maybe we can also compare how Japan can be so good in managing this plastic. To me, who is coming from most likely related to health promotion, I'm so much curious to how to make these ideas of leaving plastic make sense to those, not only the elites, but also the grassroots. I think you are reminding how to break away from sachet economy without victimizing the poor. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the audience, I think you all already keep in hand and in mind several questions, but keep it longer. Or if you want to, you can also leave any questions in the chat box. We will continue the third presentation with Prof. Tonang, and after that we can have a discussion with two presenters who are present in person today. So please leave any question you have in the chat box, and later you can raise your hand in the session prepared for you. Now we continue to the third presenters, Prof. Tonang. Good morning. How are you, man?
Yeah, good morning. Is it
Good
okay?
to see you, Prof.
Yes.
Good to see you, Prof. Thank you
Okay.
for securing your time. I know you are very busy for us. So when you are ready, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Akbaruddin Arif, as a moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First is a big thanks to the committee for inviting me in this ICOMSI, something that actually make me feel so nervous because it's a multidisciplinary conference, much beyond the borders of my specific field in medical. So please allow me to express my nervousness because yes, this is really nervous for me. Okay, my topic should be as the board invited me about the planetary health in healthcare. Oh, sorry. Let me share my presentations. So just wait a minute. Okay. Okay. Is it okay? My presentations has been displayed, Mr. Arif.
Yes, very well displayed.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. Planetary health in healthcare practices. That's my topic today. Of course, in Indonesian's perspective, really enjoying the two previous speakers with a very detailed data and very interesting display. So what I just want to show is just about little bit about Indonesians' perspective on planetary health in healthcare practices. As me, as despite as academicians, I've been in hospital management and healthcare services maybe around last 15 years. So there is a little bit that I might share today with you or the audience of this ICOMSI. Let us see that planetary health. Planetary health is something actually very challenging, even for me, because usually we just talk about the health as itself, as a medical field. It's not about the beyond borders to be a planetary health. So then I try to learn what is actually planetary health is. So planetary health is actually an emerging paradigm, recognizing the interdependence between human health and the state of natural system. One of the famous definitions on the Rockefeller Foundations, I quoted on the Lancet Commission 2015, stated that planetary health is the health of human civilization and the state of the natural system on which it depends. Actually, in our field, our medical, we also have one of the quote is One Health. One Health means that we recognize that actually the health status of a man is not actually just depending on him or herself. There are many factors, and focusing on the environmental factors that might justify the status of the health of someone. So we call it One Health. And we do actually become very shocked that our last 2020 to 2022, mainly on the pandemic era of COVID-19. It is very deep sorry that we have to face that pandemic. But in other side, as a blessing in disguise, it reminds us and make us, how to say, understand. And finally, yes, we have to agree that One Health is a system that we cannot avoid. It is something that we have to fight for, and we have something that we have to always to try to cope for. That's what I hope. That's what I understand about the One Health. And today, it becoming borders, becoming beyond the borders that have to talk about the planetary health. That actually have a very much in common with the One Health paradigm, that we cannot guarantee the status of healthy of someone just by how to say, by treating him with the medical view, but we also have to consider the many factors outside them, focusingly on the environmental factors. That's what I try to understand today about the planetary health. And the pictures on the left side is something that I thought might be related to the planetary health, that last maybe 2 or 3 years, hospital communities in Indonesia started to realize that they cannot just go through the business. I'm sorry for using this word, but that's a daily activities of hospital is a business actually dealing with the health services. That it's not only about the drug, it's not only about the surgery, it's not about the how to say about the many literatures talking about the alternative of a method in treating someone, but they also have to consider about the factors beyond them. That is, let's just say, environmental. And the first on the upper side of the left is tenaga surya, is for the solar cell for cultivating the energy for hospital. It's becoming common nowadays. Next in the below is the diet. We now understand that providing healthy diet is not less than drug in the necessity for the patients to become getting well. So we now understand that we cannot take the the nutritional services in hospital is something taken for granted, but it has to be closely evaluated and closely prepared to compare the drug and the, let's say, surgery and another modalities of treatment, becoming one concept of having the patients becoming well. That's what we understand. And the low part of the picture is showing one of the strategies that Indonesian government tried to implement. That's what we call pilots with the climate change resiliency. That's one of the topics that we will discuss today. In spite of another factors, doesn't mean that we want to say that the other factors is unrelatable, but at least climate change is a public health emergency. That's becoming clearer and clearer nowadays in the last years. Climate change, driven by greenhouse gas emissions and also environmental degradations, represents a planetary scale threat to human well-being. As global temperature rise and weather patterns destabilize, so then fundamental requirements for health are increasingly at risk. And finally, we are in the healthcare services to be one to take this as a burden, another burden, or we should say another big burdens, yeah, after the other burdens that we usually years for years taken care of. Let's just say about drug, about and so on. So finally, the climate change become an interesting topic for medical services, also in Indonesia. Let's just say about clean air, about safe water, about adequate food, and about secure the shelter. As we saw, as you know, as part of the line of the archipelago that we have to realize many risks of natural disasters are emerging and re-emerging in Indonesia, that hospital services itself also have to prepare what we say a capacity, a capacity that is a hidden capacity. We hope we will not have, we will not use that, but we have to prepare this hidden capacity to overcome when someday we do not know exactly, but it might be happen. Natural disasters coming to this hospital, then we have preparations. That's what we call a disaster preparedness. It's one of the points that the hospital nowadays has to make it a point, a big point, a bold point, not to be forgotten. Yeah. Let's just say about this planetary integrations in Indonesian healthcare now. In Indonesia, a country with a highly vulnerable to climate change and so environmental degradations, so increasingly it is influencing routine healthcare practices. It's something unavoidable. Health leaders are beginning to align medical services with a sustainable goal, acknowledging that issues like extreme weather, pollution, and ecosystem loss directly affect the population health. That's a bold point we have to check now. We cannot say I don't know. We cannot say I don't care, but we have to care. Indonesian's hospital, community programs, and government initiative are incorporating the planetary health concept, from climate adaptations in health system to green hospital in infrastructure. that's the practice, daily practice we are now implementing in hospital to overcome this challenge in the climate change. Let's just say in the left side, we have global warming and climate change that would impact the world, and among those of the impact would heavily impact to healthcare. Also, for us in Indonesia, this is the presentations from the Airlangga University several years ago. Also, one good article stated that last May, health resiliency in the climate change era in Indonesia, pointing out that some hospitals, maybe a little number or small number of hospitals, has so good preparations and good preparedness in taking care of this climate change. But there are deep concern that there are still many other hospitals in Indonesia is not yet coming to the states to take this climate change into deep and happy considerations. That's our worriness now, that maybe someday if something happen, something that we never hope to be happen, but yes, it might be happen, that natural disaster as an effect, also a continuing risk of climate change would affect the hospital services when the hospital itself is not yet ready. That's what we worry about now. So Indonesian hospital try to implement some initiative and regulations and policy to climate adaptations in hospital and health system, mainly to Indonesia. First is for the energy infrastructure. There are good and strong drive from the government for hospital to take another step into the another source of energy, yeah, that we hope will have a more robust and longer endurance for the long future. Some hospital has implemented some solar cells facility to become a source of energy, mainly for the, let's just say, a rather not essential part of hospital services. We are not yet ready to implement this solar cell energy for important and significant services of hospital. Let's just say in the surgery activities, in the operating system, operating theater, or in the some intensive room for caring patients in the heavy and severe condition. But for the other services in hospital, we are now ready to use source of energy from solar cell. I think that's good news even for the start. And we hope that day by day, the development of the solar cells will become robust and standing energy that we are sure to use even for significant and critical services in hospital. Waste regulation is another point. Many waste is produced by hospitals practice day by day. And for years, we are not yet pointing and applying attention on this big issue. But last maybe 5 years, some policy of a government is pointing out a strong regulations that the hospital started to take care of this waste regulation and waste management in hospital more carefully. Maybe some of us wrote and as I say, heard some news, bad news about finding some hospital waste, even in the street, even on the inappropriate place for this very dangerous and infectious waste from hospital. But let us hope that by implementing the accreditation system, it's become stronger and stronger, and also the awareness of the hospital management and society about the dangers of hospital waste, then we finally getting better and better in this waste management. The third is about environmental tracking. Having awareness about the climate change adaptations into the healthcare is sometimes become difficult in understand just because there are no big and solid data to base on our thought, our statement, and our initiative. So having Satu Sehat as a platform that monitors all environmental health indicators help us to build a strong view and then a strong initiative in adapting this climate change. So beyond any other discuss about the Satu Sehat, I know there is some controversy on this, but at least in the view of climate change adaptations into hospital healthcare, then Satu Sehat is very helping to monitor us. That's what we hope. And we do read in the Indonesian Development Plan for the next 5 years that climate change adaptation action plans will explicitly integrate health system resilience to climate change. That's good point and good news for us in healthcare. Another thing is about Green Climate Fund initiative that we know Indonesia is taking a huge step in participation to the Green Climate Funds internationally supported by WHO and UNDP. Our Minister of Health is a big partners in this initiative. Yeah. To build an early warning system for climate sensitive disease and improving health services in the face of extreme weather. Our Minister of Health stated that a multi-sector effort is required. The Health Ministry is coordinating with the Environment Ministry, Finance Ministry, and others to ensure climate adaptation is built into health planning at all levels, not just in the sectors of Ministry of Health, but also another related sectors. Let's just say one of the example on the forest fire haze on 2019. We deeply sorry about this, but in the view of the initiative, there are good news that emergency response to environmental crisis such as this forest fire haze is something promising that we are getting better and better. Minister of Health conducting a center of crisis to face this forest fire haze, and then initiating some strategy, having 20 emergency clinic set up in Jambi City near to the site of the fire, and then providing massive N95 masks for people in preventing the respirations infection and respirations disease because of this fire. Also, we treated all the victims and related victims with free of charge of healthcare. That's at least as an acute and emergent reaction is okay. What we do need now is how to build the next future. If we have to again face the such natural disaster, that we are becoming more ready, we are becoming more in readiness. So it's not just an acute and early or emergent reaction, but it's a plan and well-prepared actions. Another thing about the community health program for climate threats, it means that in the previous slide, we have image and reactive reactions. But for this slide, we try to move to the what we say preventive and proactive actions to climate change in the community health program. Let's just take an example with the dengue infections in Indonesia. We say demam berdarah. In dengue fever, a mosquito-borne disease is sensitive to temperature and rainfall. Something that, yes, it's very typical of Indonesia. It shows in recent years with there are a high increase in 2024. Two things we initiating to this problem. First is the capacity building for the society. Indonesian Red Cross with the USAID support launched the Community Epidemic and Pandemic Preparedness Program, CP3, to empower villages against dengue and other outbreaks. One of the most prominent campaign is 3M, menguras, menutup, mendaur ulang, to drain, to cover, and to recycle, to eliminate mosquito breeding site. Also, we collectively conduct the Clean Friday or Saturday as a Hari Bersih, a clean day, meaning that weekly community events to clear garbage and apply larvicide. Yeah. CP3 also trains local volunteers to perform early case detections of dengue in the public education and also environmental management. And yes, it has a very big positive significance to overcome the endemic of dengue. Another thing is applying the Wolbachia mosquito trial. It is a rather more deep in biochemical, biomedical strategy. What we do is we genetically rearrange the Aedes aegypti mosquito to become infertile. And having this infertile mosquito, it means that we can control the populations of Aedes aegypti. It doesn't mean that we decrease the populations, but we still let the populations to emerge naturally, but in the infertility characteristic. So we hope with that through that way we can decrease the risk of dengue transmissions from people to people being transferred by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. And we approve by using this technology that 77% dengue reductions we found in the city of Yogyakarta area. And now we are developing the strategy in the beyond border, beyond area other than Yogyakarta. Planetary Health Relevance stated on this method that yes, biology intervention is something that working. And then we can reduce chemical use of larvicide because yes, we also know that using this larvicide has a positive impact, but also some risk for the environment. Also, we prove that we can adapt the climate change with the vector-borne disease control using this genetically rearrangement. Okay, that's another about dengue. Another thing is also about the climate resilient healthy village model. Indonesian government tried to develop and implement a model of climate resilience healthy village. One of the and we said about desa tangguh iklim in Indonesia. One of the example is what we try in Jambi province in Sumatra. Yeah, it's a pioneer for this model starting on 2018. We launched in 2018, and then the pilot selections for choosing this Jambi area, and we conducting also community solutions. We work with the residents of on drainage, water storage, hair safety, and also heat protections on this area. This program addresses multiple climate vulnerabilities, including flood risk, dengue, malaria, and drought-related sanitation issues. Village Health Task Force work directly with the residents to develop and implement locally appropriate adaptation plan for having a program that is well implemented. If we do not adapt and adopt the local genius and local value, that we had a bad experience that the national program is not well implemented. So that's one point. Another also, Alam Sari, Alam Sejahtera Lestari, or Health in Harmony is a program, one of the assembly in Gunung Palong, West Kalimantan, the model. So the Alam Sejahtera Lestari, or the NGO, working the Health in Harmony, created a combined health plus conservation program. So it's not just about the conservation program implemented into the environment, but also in combining with the health services. So it provides affordable, accessible primary care for communities around the forest in parallel with conservation work, alternative livelihood training, restoration, and also environmental education. Even they also allow for non-cash payments or sliding scale payment for health services. And having lately, we also combine this program into our Indonesian's national health coverage from the BPJS Kesehatan. This program resulting in 70% of forest loss reductions, meaning the reduction in deforestation rate compared to prior period. Also 90% in logging dependency drop, decrease in household relying on logging as a main livelihood. Also 60% in reduction in infant mortality. That's very good news, of course, in combining the health services, health indicators, and health outcomes in align with the environmental program in deforestation, and also in changing the livelihood from the logging dependency into the other livelihood alternative. This alumni study in Kalimantan, two things. First is healthcare access for affordable primary care with non-payment cash, and also non-cash payment, and the conservation integrations. Two things in combination and resulting in a good news. This is very previously we stated about the result of this program in forest loss reduction, logging dependency drop, and also in infant mortality decline. Another study also on the community-based approach for climate resilience and COVID-19 during the pandemic. It is reported in Land Journal 2023 from Kampung Iklim Climate Village in Balikpapan, Indonesia. The model of the study tried to analyze how this climate village program during pandemic era. There are some message and learning point we concluded from the study. First, that collaborative governance in the implementation of a climate village program is a must. Then promoting the climate village program to the other sectors for ICT, because it is turned out that without implementations of ICT, the difficulties is coming in implementing this climate village program in a rural or even maybe in remote area. Strengthening community participation in implementing smart village concept also a key for the successful of this program. That's the study of the climate village during COVID-19. This is the national scale up, having the experience from 2018 and mainly during the COVID-19 pandemic. Then on 2024, there are national scale up of climate resilient villages. Village communities had a participatory climate health action plan in place. So in 2025, the Ministry of Health elevated the concept of climate resilient village into a national scale up based on the previous experience. Okay. Mainly now focusing on the sustainable practices in healthcare infrastructure for this topic to be in practice. So Indonesians policymakers increasingly acknowledge that protecting and restoring human health may come at price if we are not careful. Remind us from the quote that wealth might be wealth is not everything, because everything without health is nothing. It's something like that in a sentence come to us. So given the 24 hours and 7 days of hospital operations, consume massive energy and produce large volume of waste. So poor waste disposal can release toxic pollutant and greenhouse gases, exacerbating the climate change and the local pollution. So we then initiate the Green Hospital Initiative and international network membership for the leading hospitals to join to exchange best practices in sustainable practice of healthcare adapting the climate change. Let's just say one of the example in Rumah Sakit Dr. Sarjito in Yogyakarta. It's just around maybe 40 kilometers in the south of this campus. It is Indonesian's Green Hospital pioneer. So there are 3R waste system: reuse, recycle, and reduce here. So implemented the reuse, reduce, recycle system for medical and general waste streams produced by hospital. So 8 to 15% in medical waste recycle. Okay, and then 34% domestic waste recycle, and 24 billions annual saving by implementing this waste management in this hospital. And for this, so hospital, Sarjito Hospital provide a waste management unit specifically to maintain and to operate this waste management, promising that yes, the management pointing out that it is very important to have waste management in hospital. This is such an example of the picture of how Sarjito Hospital implementing this waste management. And finally, when people talk about green hospital in Indonesia, they always refer to Rumah Sakit Sarjito. It is now part of our branding. We know, understand, and we are really care that branding is something very important for hospital. And now Sarjito Hospital making this waste management as one of their branding. Finally, then, this green hospital management movement becoming more and more hospital to implement. Let's just say in Ibrisen Hospital Gresik, and also several leading hospital has joined the Global Green and Healthy Hospital Network internationally, committing to energy efficiency, to water conservation, and also mercury-free healthcare. Has been 5 years that we are now avoiding and no mercury being used in hospital nowadays in Indonesia. So some hospitals implement the hybrid of the electrical sources. Also, some energy efficient hospital becoming environmental friendly hospital. Lastly, we talk about the policy and multi-sector initiative for planetary health. So there are ministry coordinations, such as we just discussed previously. G20 leadership, President of Indonesia has urged looking beyond traditional healthcare systems in adapting this climate change for planetary health. So COP26 commitment from the G20, this is the commitment of the COP26 health program commitment in retrofit health facilities, build climate preparedness, expand sustainable energy, and also in mobilize funding. We understand that actually this program will not succeed without participations of many stakeholders. This is from the NGOs, from the academic, and also from the community partners. So building this awareness is something very important for this program to continually and lasting longer and longer. So research and capacity building is one of the activities we initiate as our initiative to maintain this program to be implemented. And finally, this is the linking planetary health to the development agenda, that we hope this issue will not just a temporary issue, but will become an everlasting issue, because yes, this is a natural thing that will be with us in longer time, even maybe eternally. Thank you. This is for the topic and what I just can share today in this conference. Please, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Prof. Tonang. Thank you very much for your very rich presentation. You have helped us with illuminating concept of planetary health to practice, giving very rich experience from Indonesia, from the field. We learned how planetary health concept has been influencing medical services, and also later create very rich and so many experience from the community initiative. And Prof. Tonang remind us that we need to work together with all stakeholders to linking planetary health concept into development agenda. Thank you, Prof. And dear all, I think we already have 3 presentations. you are invited to give responses, questions, and anything to, especially to Professor Okamoto and Professor Tona. You are invited. You can raise your hand if you have any questions. You can also leave a question in the chat box. I think both presenters speak Indonesia, speak bahasa very, very well. Of course, Prof. Tonang, yes. But Pak Okamoto, I think he also speaks bahasa very, very well. We used to have text in bahasa if we have WhatsApp conversation. If you insist, you are still also welcome if you want to address your question in bahasa. While waiting a response and question from the audience, do you have any response to my earlier question, Prof. Oka? How to make, how can we explain why people in government in your country more what's called care, more aware of managing waste in Indonesia and several other countries are not. It looks that living plastic concept of living plastic has not become common sense. And my question is how to make it becoming common sense. So people use this concept as guidance of their attitude.
Yeah, actually, thank you very much for the question. Actually, in Japan, also, it took around 20 to 25 years to create a clean environment. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was born, the Sungai River was really contaminated with the waste, plastic waste, etc. So dirty at that time. But because of the that, there's a kind of trial from the local government in collaboration with the community leaders and the local kind of NGOs to change it. And they kept doing that. Then there's a transformation. So it's quite difficult to menanam budaya bersih. So
Yes.
butuh waktu sangat lama. Jadi harus dimulai. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pak. We now let's check what we have in the chat box. I'm Siti Khairia. I am interested in Prof. Okamoto presentation. It's time to find a quick and effective. Another question. Jump. It's Khairia question. It is time to find a quick and effective solution to the impact and danger of microplastic. I have two questions, Prof. One, does Japan have a microplastic quality standard to guide researchers and determine the status of this pollution, these pollutants? Second, has Prof. Okamoto research on microplastic in Indonesia, especially collaborated with any universities? I think I can understand this question. Are you interested and collaborated with us? Is that your question, Bu Siti? Yeah. Okay. The second question, dear friends, should you have any? Okay, this is the request to the audience from Mas Aldi, Mr. Aldi, to Prof. Tona. This is a question for you, Prof. I am deeply intrigued by the health in harmony model, the innovative linkage between healthcare access and environmental stewardship is particularly compelling. The health in harmony model uses an innovative non-cash payment system linking healthcare to conservation. The question, could this community-based payment in kind model be adapted or subsidized by the National Health Insurance, for example, BPJS Kesehatan, to be replicated in other ecological sensitive areas in Indonesia? Could you, Pak Oka and Prof. Tonang, respond this question first, and then we can continue with the following questions.
So from me first, thank you very much for the comments. Yeah, we need a really quick solution, but actually plastic issue itself is rather new, especially microplastic issue. When I met a professor in the Philippines where we conducted a forum, she's now a well-known professor on the plastic waste management, but she just started tackle this issue in 2017. So it's really new in the Philippines, but also in Japan too. The microplastic issue has become quite widespread just in the mid-2010s. So it's really new, so we don't have many scholars working on microplastic issues. So we need to conduct more researches. Just started. If you look at the Google research, etc., the number of research on microplastic is increased quite rapidly after mid-2010, but still just a start. So we need to start. And if we think about Indonesia, we don't have much. Yeah, some from BRIN or others, but still not so much. So we need to, and now more and more money are coming for this research, especially the plastic issues in the ocean. That's why we can start from it. And Indonesia has a lot of chances to get the money for the research. That's why maybe we need to conduct more research. And I myself is not a specialist on actually microplastic issues. That's why now our center is trying to create a kind of study on this issue in a multidisciplinary way. Without a multidisciplinary approach, we cannot find a good solution. Yeah. And it's also quite related to Pak Tonang's research too, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Prof. Thank you. Prof. Tonang, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Prof. Okamu to speak Indonesian very well, but
Ya, lebih gampang bagi saya bahasa Indonesia daripada bahasa Inggris.
Sensei, Hotu ni wa. I'm sorry, but I have just forgotten my Japanese name.
Oh yeah, you can speak bahasa Jepang.
I've been in Japan for 4 years, my PhD.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the questions. Mr. Aldi, it's very interesting, yes, to about this non-cash payment and or payment in kind. But having this Indonesian health coverage, JKN, operating by BPJS Kesehatan, that actually for the medical expenses has been included in the coverage of JKN. So we are not, how to say, there are no expense for the medical. It should be that way. But in the other side, there is always an expense beyond this medical. Let's just say for transportations or maybe for losing productive day and so on. And this part becoming a burden for the society. So if we want to implement this initiative of in harmony, healthy in harmony model, our focus is on the non-medical expense. Yes, I think it is very interesting to use this model to fulfill the need for non-medical expense having by the society, even in the special, maybe the remote area. It will be very helpful for them because even yes, medical expense has been included in the coverage of Indonesian health insurance, but this non-medical expense is something significant usually for the people. And I agree with you, we can implement this in the area But if you ask me about whether this BPJS can subsidize this is something that our regulations, how to say, it's not allowed by our regulations that the funding from the BPJS Kesehatan to subsidize this. The room for this is what we call a compensations features in the Indonesian's regulations of JKN. With this room for compensations, meaning that if a participant or how to say member of this JKN program having difficulties in accessing the health services because of maybe geographical factors for the distance or maybe some handicap, then there is room for BPJS Kesehatan to provide them with the compensations. Compensations would be in form of sending the health personnels or maybe sending some modalities, a drug, or maybe something that needed for the patients, or providing the costs as reimbursements from the handicap for the people. In this room, we might modify to become embedded and combined with the Health in Harmony program. Your questions remind me to raise this idea in the discussions for the JKN. Thank you for that. I will try to raise this as an initiative for the compensations method of JKN. Thank you, Mr. Adi.
Thank you from Prof. Ton for your responses. I received a text from the committee if somebody is raising hand, but his hand doesn't spot in my computer. But I would like to invite Mr. Mulyadi, who has been supposed to raise his hand. Mr. Mulyadi, are you there?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Akbar.
Yes.
Okay, Mawadero. Okay, I want to ask Prof. Tolang about the hospital and waste management. In my opinion, climate adaptation in hospital and health system.
Could you turn on your video? I want to see.
Okay.
I want you to show.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It is
I
very
want to ask
threatening because there
Prof.
is
Tolang.
sounds without a face.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm
Mr.
sorry, Prof.
Yes.
I'm to try with English. I'm sorry if not good. In my opinion, climate adaptation in hospital and health system is very good benefit in the field of health and the environment. I want to ask, what do you think about the rules for medical waste management being stricter to reduce unsafe waste burning practice that have a negative impact on air quality and environment health? I want to take an example, for example, the implementation of program pencegahan dan pengendalian infeksi di puskesmas in community health center. Well, there be a policy related to this for community on puskesmas atau community health center, or even later that will be regulation to include this item in the community health center accreditation program atau akreditasi puskesmas yang saat ini ada itu belum mengakomodir pengelolaan manajemen pengelolaan limbah berbasis tenaga surya tadi. Because currently the budget load the community health center for waste management is still minimized. We know the Probowo's program is efficiency, effectivity, anggaran. Please give your direction and the response how become climate and waste management ini to be applicated in the puskesmas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mulyadi. It's very good question and very good English actually. Having considered that Are you working in Puskesmas, Pak Mulyadi?
No, Dinas Kesehatan Provinsi Jawa Timur, Prof.
Oh, siap. Yeah. Uh, Dinas Kesehatan Jawa Timur is a very, how to say, special because the chief is a professor.
Yes.
Yes, a professor in internal medicine. Okay. Okay, Mr. Mulyadi, thank you for the questions. Yes, we understand. And we have to admit your question is right. Your claim is right that yes, waste management is not yet, how to say, something that is proclaiming to be a significant thing in our healthcare, at least for the last 5 years. In hospital community, we have conducted the accreditations much longer than the Puskesmas. We started to this accreditation program on 1995, and it's become a revolutionary change on 2012 to implement the international standard. And starting those time, the accreditation system of hospital becoming more and more rigid, including on the infections prevention and control, PPE, and of course, one of them is about the waste management. So yes, for the hospital, I think it's a little bit better than Puskesmas, because in Puskesmas there are many activities, there are many programs that, how to say, very consuming in energy. So then the waste management is not yet a significant point to consider. It is not about that the Puskesmas employee doesn't think this waste management is important. It's not about that. But it is just that, yes, you're right. The attention to this issue is not yet, how to say, significantly admitted in our daily practice. What might be different is in hospital, there are several regulations with very heavy sanctions if the directors of hospital uh, are, are, are evaluated to be carelessly manage the waste of hospital. So then the director of hospital strictly watch this management, this waste management, because of those regulations. I did not yet find the same regulations implemented in Puskesmas. It might be because we have more than 10,000 Puskesmas with a very, how to say, very wide variety in CAP. So then this regulations is not yet implemented in Puskesmas. What I might suggest and provide suggestions for you is how if we initiate a collective management of several puskesmas in an area to become, let's just say, in a size of hospital. Similarly, so then our cooperations with the very limited number of, how to say, provider in waste management, focusing in the dangerous waste, P3, will become more efficient. Because even in hospital, there is still handicap about these corporations. As you know, there are very limited number of this provider, and we are not in a position to, how to say, to negotiate with them. I do hope that the Dinas Kesehatan as an authority will initiate this movement by collecting the puskesmas into one big body. So then the negotiations with the provider will be more smooth and effectively implemented. So far, that's what I just can suggest to Mr. Moriarty, because yes, even me myself, I cannot think something more regulated on this, because as you know, we still have, how to say, and rather, how to say in English, rather unpleasantly situations in this issue of regulations in waste management. I cannot say this more clearly, Mr. Moretti, but I think you understand what I just mean with this statement. Okay. Thank you. Maybe we can discuss later in more detail, Mr. Moretti, on this issue because it is very sensitive and very interesting issue. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Prof.
Okay.
Tonang.
Thank.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Mr.
you, Prof.
Moretti.
Yes. Thank you. Your answer is extraordinary and motivates me. But in addition to fund and budget, the problem is also in human resources who
Yes.
can understand PPI, Prof.
Yes.
Still few who participate in PPI training and there is lack of manpower. And
Yes.
rarely are there anyone who want to become a PPI program holder because the officer have many program in class.
Yes, that's what
And
I
if
think.
they
That's
have
what I said
participate,
about Puskesmas.
yes,
Many programs
many
still be
program.
implemented. Yeah.
Yeah.
We maybe more than 10 years in hospital experience to make the IPCN
IPCN.
as a valuable and honorable positions that nurse might want to apply with.
Yes.
Because previously, if we say about who want to become a PCN, then
IPCN.
many our colleges in nurse will say, no, I don't know. Because yeah, at this time, what is a PCN? It's not something that is something. But after maybe 10 years of accreditations and becoming more and more robust and rigid in regulations, and finally, step by step, this EPCNs becoming more interesting for our nurse colleges. I hope that maybe after maybe 5 to 10 years later, it will also becoming a valuable and interesting position in Puskesmas, Mr. Moyati.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Yes,
Always healthy and successful, Prof.
thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Tonang and Prof. and Mr. Moryati. I think we are also struggling after we are discussing planetary security, human security. I think we need also to solve signal security. Our signal is not stable. The conversation sometimes jump from one situation, so we cannot grasp fully the ideas the speaker delivered. Okay, I think we still have 2 questions in the chat box delivered to Prof. Okamoto. One is from Murni Ratna. Mbak Murni Ratna, thank you for your insightful presentation. I would like to ask a question related to link between human security and plastic waste management. What kind of collaborative policies from government and other stakeholders could help micro, small, medium enterprises, or we usually call UMKM? I think Pak Oka understand this, yeah? Transition from plastic dependency to more sustainable packaging. Thank you. And the second question addresses to Prof. Okamoto as well. How to raise awareness among Japanese people so that they are aware of the importance of waste management in Japan. She is asking the tip, Prof. What are the tips do you start from getting used to it when you are young? And how to reduce microplastic, especially for wrapping food in Japan? Time is yours, Prof. Okamoto.
Thank you very much for the question. Yeah, and very difficult questions actually. Could you show the questions again?
Okay, the first or the second?
Both.
The first question, he asked about what maybe this is a kind of she wants exact examples. What kind of collaborative policies from government and another stakeholders would help UMKM, warung-warung, from using plastic bag?
Yeah, Japan is also struggling to find a better solution about the plastic issues, especially microplastic issue. And the Ministry of Environment established a team working on this issue. But it's also quite new, so that's why it's a starting point. But now a lot of UMKM, small and medium-scale enterprises, are working on this issue, and they are very creative, and they're creating a kind of less plastic use products, and they are now producing. And also really biodegradable products are being produced by these companies, and the Japanese government is also quite interested in these kind of transformations. So there's kind of just a starting point on the microplastic issue. And previously, how to raise awareness of the people, actually because of the problem. Previously, when Japan was economically good in 1950s to 1970s, the waste was put on the land. It was landfill. So di mana-mana di Indonesia juga sama ya. Ada tempat pembuangan sampah. Bau, minta ampun. Dan itu terjadi di Indonesia, di kota-kota di Jepang juga bau sekali. Jadi masyarakat mulai marah-marah. Itu awalnya. Setelah itu dibentuklah lembaga-lembaga LSM lokal, dan sekarang masih waktu itu masih Pemda punya anggaran. Jadi bikinlah pembangkit listrik tenaga sampah. Digunakan untuk listrik. Jadi gara-gara itu sampai sekarang tahun 70 sampai 80% sampah dibakar. Tapi masalahnya apakah bisa memecahkan masalah mikroplastik atau tidak? Setelah dibakar ada abu-abu. Ternyata menurut studi baru masih ada mikroplastik dan nanoplastik dalam abu-abu juga. Jadi apakah PLTSA sendiri apakah menjadi solusi untuk masalah microplastic, nanoplastic? It's not yet clear. Now that is the stage. But that's why the movement for recycling in Japan is now quite popular. And one village in Shikoku, they declared zero waste management. So now they segregated the garbage into 45 kinds. 45 jenis sampahnya. Terus dikumpulkan masing-masing dan digunakan. Jadi hampir 80% sampah di-recycle di desa ini. Jadi seperti itu mulai diperlakukan di daerah-daerah lain. Dan jadi semoga itu bisa menjadi gerakan untuk lebih luas gitu. Dan as far as Indonesia is concerned, terkait dengan Indonesia, saya ada harapan bagi Gen Z. Ada studi survei terhadap kesadaran lingkungan pada Gen Z di Indonesia atau di negara Asia. Mereka siap bayar lebih kalau produknya lebih ramah lingkungan. Dan kesadaran itu jauh lebih tinggi daripada generasi tua kalau di Indonesia. Dan itu bisa jadi harapan saya kira. Ya, sekian dulu. Thank you.
Soal tips tadi kurang lebih sudah tersasar ya. There are question about tips, I think directly already answered by Prof. Okamoto. If there are still any question and response, you are most welcome. We still have one or two questions. Maybe we can allocate for audience. There are no more questions from floor. Yeah, I think these two already answered by Prof. Okamoto. Okay, if there are no more responses and questions from the floor, from the audience. I think the conference, plenary conference today is coming to the end. Thank you very much to Prof. Tona, Prof. Okamoto, and Dr. Iyad for very fruitful, meaningful, and impactful conversation. There are so many inspiration we can get from the three presenters. There are a very strong reminder from Dr. Iyad, conceptual illumination from Prof. Tona, and so much rich experience from Prof. Okamoto. I would like to let everybody bring home any point that you would like best remain in your learning. And thank you very much for your attention and also patience while we are discussing planetary security and human security, and at the same time we are trying to man with signal security. Thank you all for fruitful discussion, and I think I should hand over again my handle to Master of Ceremony. Thank you. Enjoy your day. Good day.
Thank you, Mr. Akbarudin. Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you very
Okamoto
much, Prof.
Sensei.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you
Tona.
so much,
Thank
Prof.
you
Tona.
very much,
Thank
Prof.
you, Prof. Okamoto.
Okay, yes, thank you, Mr. Akbar, for your excellent moderation and insightful discussion today. And now we would like to present a certificate of appreciation. First is to Dr. Iyad Abu Mokhli, and the second one is Professor Tonang Dwi Adrianto, and the third one is Prof. Masaki Okamoto. Okay. Yes, the first for Dr. Iyad Abu Mokhli, thank you very much. And the second for Prof. Tonang Dwi Adrianto, thank you very much, Prof. Tonang. And the third for Professor Masaki Okamoto. Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Prof. Masaki Okamoto. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for sharing your time and insight with us today. And ladies and gentlemen, kindly be reminded to confirm your attendance by filling out the conference attendance form via the link provided in the Zoom chat. And we will now have a short break. Please take this opportunity to refresh and recharge yourself. Kindly be reminded not to go so far, as our parallel session will commence afterward, where many of you will be presenting your research. Okay, we will now kindly welcome all presenter and participant back. Let us now begin our parallel session, and before we begin, please allow me to read the guidelines for the parallel session. Okay. First, the registered presenters should check their presenter schedule, room, and session, and join the attend Zoom link and the conference program 10 minutes before the event starts. Second, before joining the Zoom parallel session, the presenter should rename their username using the code provided by the committee for quick admission. Room parallel paper ID name, for example, room 1 _ number and _ name. Third, each presenter must be in the Zoom room using the fourth ICOMSI virtual background during the session. And fourth, each presenter has 8 to 10 minutes to deliver the presentation, and 3 to 5 minute Q&A. The presenter must close the presentation strictly within 15 minutes. The session chairperson must strictly control the start and closing time of each session. During your presentation, the session chairperson will notify you via Zoom chat twice, indicating that your allotted time is about to end. First notification, 2 minutes of presentation time remaining, and second notification, time is up. Finish your sentence and stop your presentation. Okay, next, the question and answer session. Participants provide question via chat, which will be read out by the moderator or directly unmute your microphone. Please raise your hand first. Next, participants are required to attend parallel session until they are finished to receive notification of attendance, certificate, best presenter, and other information related to publication. Certificate are given to person who attend, completed, and the conference fee payment and present their presentation on the day of the conference. And one certificate as a presenter is given to person who present their presentation on each title. Okay, presenters, once your presentation is complete, you are welcome to visit other room and enjoy more inspiring presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have now completed all section of today's event. Thanks again to all the speakers, Prof. Tonang, Prof. Okamoto, and moderators, Mr. Akbar, for their contribution today. We also our thankfulness to the participants who attend ICOMSI 2025. On behalf of the organizing committee, we sincerely appreciate your presence and enthusiasm. We wish you continued success in your research and professional endeavors. Have a wonderful day ahead. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi Santi, Om Namo Buddhaya. Goodbye and see you at the next ICOMSI. Thank you very much.
Om Swastiastu. Om Swastiastu. Iring makin masuk kerana Ampura uki berasa mata sarang sami. Sajojo, sajojo. Yumarang koli sama para sama muna keke, sama muna keke, sama muna keke. Ayo mama, jangan mama marah beta. Dia cuma pegang beta. Ayo mama, jangan mama marah beta. Lah orang muda sudah biasa. Lah orang muda sudah biasa. Lah orang muda sudah biasa. Ayo rek, laku nang tunjungan. Rek, ayo rek, rame-rame bebarengan. Cak, ayo cak, sopo gelem melu aku. Cak, ayo cak, golek kenalan cahayu. Ruang jempa, megah di Aceh. Ruang terlebih, indah lagona. Putih kuning, menjambu merah.